In this video, we're going to build a useful web application for businesses, an AI-powered meeting notes summary generator. Now, this application is going to build upon the knowledge we obtained in the previous videos in this series. We will continue to use the Ollama LLM runtime and the Ollama Python package. But this application will use FastAPI, a Python package for implementing REST APIs without the hassle of doing it from the ground up. The API will take information about a meeting and return a summary of it. It will also analyze the transcript of the meeting for the main points discussed, and it will even extract tasks discussed in the transcript along with the person assigned and the due date. And after that, it will draft a follow-up email to be sent 1 week from the date of the meeting. Then it will convert the summary to a PDF and save it. All of this takes well under 100 lines of code thanks to Ollama, FastAPI, and Python. I won't go too deep into how FastAPI works, but here are the basics. A FastAPI instance represents a REST Web API server. HTTP requests are routed to handler functions which process any data and return JSON. The routes are defined using Python decorators for each of the HTTP verbs such as get and post. FastAPI makes extensive use of Pydantic and Python type hints, so instead of having to parse the body of a request or construct JSON for a response, we can define models which are Python types, and FastAPI will handle transforming them to and from JSON. And we don't have to build or install a REST client. FastAPI comes with one. To get started, let's install all the packages that we will need, and we'll be using pip for this. Now, the Ollama and the FastAPI packages are self-explanatory. FastAPI makes extensive use of async functions, so we're going to need an async web server to run the FastAPI app, and the Unicorn package is going to handle this. Ollama will format the summary using Markdown, and we can use the Markdown PDF package to save the rendered Markdown as a PDF document. All right, let's create a new file. Call it main.py, and then from the FastAPI module, we will import the FastAPI type. And then we will create a new instance of FastAPI, and this will be hosted by the Unicorn web server later on. Now we need to create a type for the body of the post request to the endpoint that will analyze the meeting notes, and this type will hold data about the meeting. So first, I'm going to import from the Pydantic module, which is installed with FastAPI, the base model type. Remember that FastAPI makes extensive use of Python type hints, and by using the Pydantic package, FastAPI can enforce those type hints at runtime. So let's create a subclass of base model that represents the data about the meeting notes. So we'll say class meeting notes, and then that's going to subclass base model. The base model class is similar to a data class, except that it has some superpowers FastAPI uses under the hood. All we need to do for this demo is define the attributes of the class. The meeting notes will have a subject, and that's just going to be a string. And there will also be a list of attendees, and that will be a list of strings. And then there will also be the transcript, which will be just a string as well. And we should have a date for the meeting, and for that we're going to just use the date time, or the date type in the datetime module from the Python standard library, and then we'll say date is datetime.date. Now the subject of the meeting is going to be used to generate the name of the PDF document. And to generate the name, I've just got a simple function here to convert the string to snake case. I'll paste it in, but first I just need to import the RE module since it makes use of it. RE comes from the Python standard library. The first line of this function removes all non-alphanumeric characters. The second line converts spaces to underscores, and the last line converts the entire string to lowercase letters and returns it. Next, we're going to create one more function called summarize meeting. And this is going to handle HTTP requests that are routed to it and do the heavy lifting of summarizing the meeting notes for us. Now it accepts a meeting notes instance, and FastAPI will construct this meeting notes instance for us from the JSON in the request body. Now we're going to have to construct a prompt and tell the LLM how to summarize the meeting notes. This is rather long, so I've got it over here in some notes, and I'm just going to copy and paste that, and then we will talk about it. The prompt first, it configures the LLM as an AI office assistant. This is similar to the system message that we saw in a previous video. Then it tells the LLM to summarize the transcript right here, extract the main points of the discussion, and then to note any tasks that were discussed, and also the attendee that they are assigned to and the due date. Then it pulls the data out from the meeting notes in the body. The subject and transcript, they can be left as is because they're just strings. The attendees need to be converted to a comma-separated string, and then the date needs to be formatted as the 4-digit year, 2-digit month, and 2-digit day separated by slashes, and we can do that with the stirftime function. Then we tell the LLM how to format the summary. So the section headers are all in capital letters, and then in square brackets are instructions for what to generate. Then at the end of the summary down here is the email to be sent 1 week after the meeting happens. Now we can write the code to generate the summary. We're going to use the generate function in the Ollama package. So I need to import that, say from Ollama import generate, and then I'll also grab the generate response type to handle the response of the generate function. So we'll say response is of type generate response equals generate. So we'll call generate, and just like we saw in the previous model, the previous videos rather, it's going to need a model. Now I've already downloaded Llama 3.1, the 8 billion parameter version. For the prompt, I'm just going to use the F string that we just created, and I'm not going to stream this response because the REST API, or the REST client rather, doesn't support it. Now I'm going to use the toSnakeCase function to create a file name. And we'll put that in an F string. We'll call toSnakeCase. And again, I'm going to use the subject of the meeting notes to create this. Add the .pdf extension. And now all that's left to do is save the summary as a PDF file. So I'm going to, from the Markdown PDF module, I want to import the Markdown PDF type and the section type. Let's scroll back down here. We'll create a new instance of Markdown PDF and then add a section to it. And that's going to take the Markdown out of the response, and then I'll save the PDF file using the file name. Finally, I will return a dictionary with the name of the PDF file. And FastAPI will convert this to JSON behind the scenes. One last thing. We still need to route an HTTP request to the summarize meeting function. And to do that, I'm going to use a decorator. So in the FastAPI app has a post decorator, which will send a post request. And then I need to give it a path, and that'll be summarize meeting. All right, so let's open the command line back up now. And we will start the application using Unicorn and passing it the name of the FastAPI app, which is inside of the main module. The server will start on localhost port 8000. Visual Studio Code has forwarded the port for us. The path to the REST client is /docs. Now there's only one endpoint, which is summarize meeting, so we'll expand that. And then I'll click the try it out button to enable the text area where you can put JSON for the body. And notice that the JSON has keys for subject, date, attendees, and transcript. Now I've generated, with the help of ChatGPT, a JSON object which contains this information. I've got it in a file here. And notice several things about this JSON. First of all, the transcript labels the discussion with which attendees are speaking, but it uses the first name only. Now the list of attendees, however, includes first and last names. Also, you'll see mention of tasks and due dates. For example, is right here. Dana says that she will take gathering user recs, and on March 14th, we'll have a report. So I'm going to copy this JSON, and I'm going to paste it into the request body. Then I'll click the execute button. Now this may take a second, so I may need to speed it up through the magic of video. Now when it's done, you'll see the response with the file name. But if we just look into the Explorer, we will see a PDF with that file name has been added alongside the code. We open it. The subject and date, those were pretty easy to get, but it also generated the paragraph summary of a much longer transcript, and it found several main points. And it recognized several tasks, and right here is the one of Dana, who's going to gather the user requirements. Well, it won't let me select it, but Dana will gather the user requirements with an initial report by May 14th. And then down here at the bottom, it drafted the email. Remember that this is the latest video in a series that I am doing about Ollama. So if there was something you didn't understand, be sure to catch the previous episodes in the YouTube playlist linked in the description below. Thanks for watching.